are in Vaikuntha, where everything is perfect, no trace of ignorance, no trace of envy. But for some reason, you get envy, and now you will suffer the fall down.
Not possible!
Bhajanita Gaura Radheshyam Japo Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Bhajanita Gaura Radheshyam Japo Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Jai Mahavira Radha Raman Jai Nitai Jai Gaur Jai Jai Sri Radheshyam.
Jay Sri Radheshyam and welcome. Namaste Gurudevaya Sarvasiddhi Pradayine Sarvamagala Rupaya Sarvananda Vidyayine. Jai Guru Shri Guru, Jai Guru Shri Guru, Jai Guru Shri Guru. Mahavira Radharaman Charandas Devaki Jai. We started in the previous episode with the Jiva Tattva by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the well-known Guru of Swami Bhaktivedanta. The words of Bhaktisiddhanta were showing clearly that Jiva is eternally bound to material realm, to the material world. And the material world is anadi, is eternal, but is always changing, with the difference of the spiritual world that is also eternal, but is not changing. The material world has the nature of change. So everything that we do, tomorrow will be different. Every peace that we find, tomorrow will not exist. Every happiness of today, tomorrow is sorrow, and so on. This is the nature. Day, night, summer, winter. Scorching summer in India, freezing winter in India. So this is the very nature of this material world. And from where the karma is coming and starts at the very time of the soul taking the decision to go to the material realm from Tatastha Shakti. Different kind of souls, 3 kind of souls basically described on the previous videos. The ones who are eternally inhabitants of Golok Sri Nitya Lila Vrindavan, the ones who are eternally in Vaikuntha. Those 2 kinds of souls are all-powerful, all-omniscient. They are pure consciousness, Satchit Ananda. They have no contamination. Maya concept does not exist on Vaikuntha, does not exist on Golok Vrindavan. Therefore, it's not possible, it's absolutely impossible that we will do a Maya deviation choice in Vaikuntha or in Golok Vrindavan. By Shastras, this is not possible. By the writings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's not possible. On the writings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, this is not possible. On the Purvacharyas, as the 6 Goswamis and Bhagavatam, the Granthas, Shastras, etc., that is not possible. There is no fall from Vaikuntha. There is not possible to become imperfect in land of perfection. Simple, that is not possible. From where we came from? From Tatastha Shakti. This Tatastha Shakti is a river, to say, as analogy, a river that separates 2 lands. One land is material world and the other land is the spiritual world. We, floating or swimming on this river, we choose one land, and to our bad luck or maybe good luck, it depends how we want to see the reality, we choose the material reality, the material world. So from that very moment, the karma starts spinning and is shaping our life, basically. This is what we have been studying. We will continue now with the writings and the ideas of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and this is very beneficial for the followers of Gaudiya Math and ISKCON, taking in consideration that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is the creator of the movement of Swami Bhaktisiddhanta. In him, I remember reading that himself, Swami Bhaktisiddhanta, said to his guru Bhaktisiddhanta in front of his disciple, "This is your movement, this is your ISKCON." So this is the real philosophy that must be followed. It's the Guru Parampara tradition, or this is how it should be, basically, based on bona fide philosophy. All right. According to the Samsat Bengali English Dictionary, the word Shyuta means got detached, dislocated, dislodged, come away, sheet, fallen, or slipped, and so on. Later in this book, we explain that the word patita, literally fallen, when describing the conditioned state of the jiva, does not imply a previously liberated state. The same applies to the word Shyuta, which is a synonym of patita, so fallen. Fallen does not mean that we fell from Vaikuntha. Fallen means that we have not the chance, not the power, not the Shakti as those souls. We are in the material bondage. That is fallen. It's not that we came out of some platform and we fell, as literally falling in the material sense. Although in the quote from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta it is translated in the last line as he is fallen from the Advaya Vaikuntha. The real meaning is that he is dislocated or cut off from Advaya Vaikuntha. The use on the passive voice in the statement of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is fallen, indicates simply that the jiva is in a fallen state in relationship to his Vaikuntha Dharma, and not that he falls from Vaikuntha. This condition is beginningless. A similar instance where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta seems to indicate a falling down from Vaikuntha is seen in his book Chaitanya's Teaching, page 350. Because we have shown difference, we have provided our indolence to associate with him, so, like shooting stars, we have been simply thrown off from him. We have rebelled against that entity, not to go back to him. It is essential that all our associations and movements should tend to his service. This seems to imply a fall down from Lord Krishna's association, but again, close scrutiny reveals that this is not the case, because if we accept the above words literally, then we are contradicting his statements in other parts of his and other books, some of which we have cited above. The above reference is from a dialogue between Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and a German lady named Miss Nora Morelli. It is difficult for a Western to grasp such difficult concepts in their original sense. Therefore, a preacher is bound to put it in simple terms. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also said that such concepts cannot be understood unless the heart is purified. This also explains why Srila Prabhupada made fell down a statement in his letters and conversation. Exactly what is my conclusion back in time when I did the study on this topic. My conclusion is that the fell down ideas from the books or conversation of Swami Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada is only for the sake of preaching. So because people will not understand this concept, it's too difficult to understand even for devotees who have been walking long time this path. It's difficult to understand what to speak about just hippies, just people who has nothing much study on nothing, So this fell down theory is a very easy way to get you engaged on service, but it's not the ultimate truth. It's just a candy that will help you to stand up on your own feet. But then we must do really study to discover what is true to what is not. Ideas such as falling from Vaikuntha are illogical. They are based on one's material conception projected upon the transcendental reality. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta writes emphatically, Vivriti on Bhagavatam 3.7.11. People present many illogical arguments, Kutarka. They consider the Lord in Goloka and the eternal transcendental variety in the form of the eternal relation between the worshipable Lord and his devotees, equal to the temporary activity of the conditioned souls under the influence of Maya. Many arguments are raised in such philosophy considering the eternal transcendental objects equal to the material inert objects. But the reality is not so. The pastimes of the Svarupa Shakti of the Lord are not equal to the temporary endeavors of the conditioned souls in the material world. And the writer continues, arguments given in support of fell down, which ultimately seek to impose an imperfection on the perfect word or on the perfect devotees, are only kutarka, false logic. They stem from a poor understanding of the Lord's Svarupa Shakti. All planets in the material world are places of fell down, and by the influence of Maya, people equate Vaikuntha to these material planets. If this influence of Maya, people equate Vaikuntha to these material planets. If this was correct, then what will be the significance of Lord Krishna's statements? Abrahma bhu banal lokaha punarjanma na vidyate? What will be the value of his statement that in the material world all beings are fallible and in the spiritual world all beings are infallible? This is the final point. There is no pramana beyond Krishna's word, and Krishna is saying here clearly, all beings are fallible in the material world. All beings in the material world are fallible, and in the spiritual world all beings are infallible. So, if we or if the jiva fell down from Vaikuntha, then the words of Krishna and the words of Bhagavad Gita are not true. Is perfection able to be imperfect? No, because perfection is perfection and imperfection is imperfection. With deception, if you see white color in black color is black, yes or not? Black color is black, yes. And white color is black? No. White color is white. So perfection can have imperfection? No. Perfection is perfection. We're not speaking about material perfection. Material perfection has imperfection in itself because it's material. It's not transcendental. But we're speaking perfection on a Vaikuntha state, even more on a Nitya Lila Vrindavan state. That perfection, spiritual perfection, is forever. The tattva is eternal. The spiritual principles are eternal. Perfection in Vaikuntha or in Golok Nitya Lila Vrindavan is eternal. So if we try to argue that the perfect souls or souls in Vaikuntha or in Golok Vrindavan will fall down from there due to imperfect decisions, we are contradicting first the tattva of what a spiritual realm is. And second, we are contradicting the words of Krishna. Does it make sense? No, absolutely not. From his own statements, it is clear that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta does not accept that the living entity falls from Vaikuntha. Hence, any statement where he appears to say differently must be taken as a misunderstanding of his true meaning on the part of the reader. Besides that, there is much evidence from the Shastras and other realized devotees about the conditioning of the jiva, all of which state that it has no beginning. This is the tattva on jiva tattva. This is the ground on jiva tattva. Material bondage has no beginning for jivas like us who are entrapped on Maya Shakti, material energy. And the main mistake here, just as the book is pointing, is that many devotees, in order to prove or while doing a poor understanding on the Shastras and the Granthas, they take one shloka and this one shloka for them means the word. It's like this is the truth, but they avoid or they ignore the full concept of the shloka. And a shloka is not one shloka, right? Every shloka is part of a full mandala, a full story. I will give an example on this, a thing that I have been studying deeply. In Chaitanya Ashtaka by Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, the verse number 5 reads that Gauranga Mahaprabhu is chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra out loud while he is counting in a mala or in a rope in his hand, making knots and counting the mantra. All right? So many people, and if you Google this, will say Mahamantra is possible to chant out loud in Kirtan, because here Rupa Goswami said that Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu is chanting out loud the Mahamantra. So there is no prohibition to chant Mahamantra in Kirtan. You will find many websites and even writings from some important names quoting this verse, but they quote only the first line. Right in the second line of the verse reads, he is counting. In order to keep the count, the repetitions that he's doing, he's using a katidor. He's using a belt, to say, a belt, and is made out of fabric, and is making knots on the belt for keeping the count of the mantra. So here I think we have a similar mistake, to take one line of Bhaktisiddhanta, one line of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, where they say something that sounds like falling down from Vaikuntha, but then ignoring the full work, ignoring the full concept that they are trying to explain, right? Many of you maybe are familiar with some joke videos that from a full speech, or propaganda videos, that from the full speech of one person, they chop off some words and they put all the words together that they want, and basically you can make the person say whatever you want. Just to do an example, I will say now, the jiva falls not from Vaikuntha, and some people will just take the not out, and I will be saying, after the edition, I will say, the jiva falls from Vaikuntha. So everybody will say, oh, Dada said jiva falls from Vaikuntha. But actually my words were chopped off. So this is exactly the same. When an acharya, a guru, is like, for example, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, etc., 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 they are speaking about that. We cannot take just one line, one word, and say, he said this. No, we must understand the full writing. What he wrote is a book, it's not one line. Maybe there are 100 or 200 pages or 300 pages where he is explaining profoundly what is there. So I cannot take one verse here, one verse here, one verse here, and to create my own story, my own idea, in order to prove right somebody or to prove wrong. I must to take the full consideration, the full text as consideration. What is the full text saying about? And if the full text in somehow is a little bit blurry in its concept, we must to then, and this is Vedic way, logic, we must to get around the texts that are talking about this topic and take the most important text on this topic, and that will be our Prana. If one book, the writer wrote in such a way that is not possible to understand, we must to take related books, related granthas, speaking about this topic, and then to get the pramana from the superior granthas, just to say, I write a book about the fall of the jiva. Jiva does not fall from Vaikuntha. I write a book, I put all the pramanas, okay, everything is clear, but you are not convinced on this, then you must to go to Jiva Goswami, or the Sat Goswamis, or granthas on that level, and then you take from them the truth, and that truth is, of course, infinitely superior than anything that I can say. This is the other way to understand the topic. When the topics are a little bit blurry, you must to go to the biggest pramana, to say, to the Purvacharyas. What they say about this is the truth. The grantha, the shastras of the Purvacharyas is the pramana. This is the final truth. So if many people who think that the jiva fell from Vaikuntha will be studying the Shastras and the Granthas given by the Purvacharyas of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, there will not be any conflict because the things are crystal clear. Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we believe that Jiva, who is bound to material reality, had never been in Vaikuntha, and of course will never be in Vrindavan, in Nitya Lila Vrindavan. No way. Alright, let's continue one more paragraph because I think this is ending here. People present many illogical arguments, Kutarka. They consider the Lord in Golok and the eternal transcendental variety in the form of the eternal relation between the worshipable Lord and his devotees equal to the temporary activities of the conditioned souls under the influence of Maya. Many arguments are raised in such philosophy considering the eternal transcendental objects equal to the material inert objects. But reality is not so. The pastimes of the Svarup Shakti of the Lord are not equal to the temporary endeavors of the conditioned soul in the material world. Arguments given in support of fell down, which ultimately seek to impose an imperfection on the perfect word or on the perfect devotees, are only Kutarka, false logic. From his own statements, it is clear that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta does not accept that the living entity falls from Vaikuntha. Hence, any statement where he appears to say differently must be taken as a misunderstanding of his true meaning on the part of the reader. It should also be noted that all the references stating that the bondage of the jiva is beginningless, given here from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta and in the previous chapter from the works of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, are direct discussions on the bondage of the jiva. The Phalbadis avoid citing these parts, but always manage to find support for their belief from the indirect words such as attaining original Svarupa, regaining memory, and so on, which they interpret to mean the conditioned soul was formerly in the Lord's Nitya Lila, Kutarka. Nitya Lila in Vaikuntha. None of their Shastra quotes directly state that Jiva fell from Vaikuntha, yet they demand direct quotes that no one fell from Vaikuntha. When this is presented, they try to reason it away. Some even ignore it altogether. In light of the above quotes, however, their conclusion is seen to be nothing but a misinterpretation. In preaching, a saintly devotee may sometimes adjust the Siddhanta or speak in an apparently ambiguous manner, but a dutiful disciple or grand disciple must not confuse what is essentially a preaching technique with the true Siddhanta, for that will be a disservice, a grown service to the entire parampara. That's in this first way, chapter 3, the origin of the jiva according to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Clear as water, isn't it? Yeah? Interesting. In the next one we will have a super interesting reading because we will quote and study words and writings from Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami. I hope you enjoy. As always, do what is correct. You know what is correct? Support this channel if you are enjoying, if you are learning, if this content makes you think. This is good. To think is good. To study Shastras and Granthas are good. To study the different acharyas is very good. So we can have a deeper understanding about our own sadhan bhajan philosophy, the Siddhanta of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Thank you very much for watching. Give a like and subscribe. It's free. Do it, please. And see you in the next. Mahavira Radharaman ki Jai, Jai Nitai, Jai Gaur, Jai Jay Sri Radheshyam.
Bhajanita Gaura Radheshyam, Japo Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Bhajanita Gaura Radheshyam, Japo Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Jai Mahavira Radharaman, Jai Nitai, Jai Gaur, Jai Jai Sri Radheshyam.